$15. $8.95. That's not too bad. Ooh. Soil microbes. This Adventure Camp. Frank. Here you go. $16.70. Open string. 29. So that was kind of funny. The gift card, I passed it to the guy and he says, we have to take the numbers off. He starts digging it with his thumbnail and he put some cleaner on it and he scratched the numbers off of the back, the PIN number. So anyway, they called for someone, the manager or whatever, and she could override it. So here's what I bought. The whole seed catalog. $15, but it's like, it's really a colorful book that just has amazing photos of plants in it. So if you have any sort of interest in gardening or whatever, this catalog book is nice. It's 530 pages, and it's Rare Seed, which is Baker Creek heirloom seeds. So so none of these would be hybrids or anything like that. Usually heirloom means it's old and it's open pollinating, not a hybrid. What's a hybrid? That's when you get, say you want a certain type of corn, a sweeter corn, you take two varieties, you take the pollen from this one and put it on that one, and don't let any of the pollen from those plants get on itself. And you can do that by cutting silk and by bagging the ears of corn and things. There's a whole system to do with it. But basically then, those seeds you would plant, and that might be the desired characteristics you want. So every time you want to get new seeds, you have to have those two corns to start with and to cross and to get the seed. Now the problem with, of course, with F1, with the hybrids, they call them F1 hybrids sometimes, is that you take that corn, okay, you get the corn you like, you plant it, you say, wow, this is good, you plant that corn, chances are it won't be like the one you planted. It will have characteristics mixed of both of the parents. So let's just say the thing about this corn is that it's sweeter, and they bred it with a corn that's sweet, but then a corn that let's say is early bearing. You might get corn that's early bearing and not sweet. You might get sweet corn that's late bearing, or there's more characteristics in that, so it's more complicated than that. But that's the idea. So if you buy typically, like I say, heirlooms or open pollinated, that seed will be true each time you plant it. Now, as great as that sounds, there's something actually better if you're looking at having sustainable seed long term, and that's called land races. And the idea between that is you'd have a group of seeds, and they're quite different. There's different things about them, but the idea is you plant them, then we'll use corn again. You plant them, then you save a bunch of seeds from different ears, and you would keep planting them. And what happens is there's a lot of genetic diversity in that you're doing, and by continuing to plant it, you can actually customize a plant to grow in your area or under the conditions you have. So let's just say we wanted, in this case, I'll just say we wanted corn that was short for some reason. What we do is we could take the kernels from the shorter corn and save those. And if we kept doing that, eventually the ears will all become short. And there's a whole theory behind that. The seed saving book that I got, I talked a little bit about that, but that idea that there's a minimum amount of plants you need to do to keep a certain diversity. I mean, some plants you just plant whatever the seed is next time and you get it, but that might not be a good thing to do over the long term, because by just having, say, a few self-pollinating plants, the diversity isn't there. And while you want maybe a product to be the way you want it, you also want enough diversity in it so that if some blight, some disease, or whatever different things happen, you're still going to have your crop. That indigenous people of Latin America and South America growing corn had many different corns, and they become specific to the different areas that they had, because they had these seeds and they kept replanting them. And even though they didn't have an understanding of genetics, no one's going to until later. This Catholic priest named George Mendel, I forget his name, that's horrible. Any biology book you look it up, and he's called the father of genetics. But he'd be the first one to define actually the idea of recessive and dominant genes. But without that information, these people are still planting in this. They're seeing what happens. So even though they don't know what's inside the black box, the DNA and everything hasn't been discovered or defined yet, they're watching how things happen, and they're storing that in their minds, and they're making changes to the crop as they go. And actually, the original corn plant, if you saw it now, you wouldn't even think it was corn. But that's what the original thing, ancestor of, Z maize type of things, were. And over thousands of years of breeding, we have these huge ears of corn with a lot of corn, and it tastes the way we want it to, looks the way we want it to. Nowadays, we want it to be uniform, so it can be picked by machines, so it can be packaged quickly, and all of these things. So a lot of times now, we're selecting out for getting rid of variations so that we can do mechanical picking. And, people want, when they're going to buy corn, if there's a short one and a long one, and there's so much an ear, people are going to say, no, what's this? We don't want the short ones, we want the big ones. But so anyway, that's the scoop, and I'm going to enjoy looking at this. And some things are just so genetically diverse, different colors and things. The corn, they really go wild on corn. And one of the things, I don't know if they have it in here, there's a corn species called glass corn. And it's actually popcorn. It's not a regular eating corn, but it's, oh, there it is right there. Look at that. And there's a story about this too. I don't know if they have a story, but the guy who, individual, developed that. But sometimes what they have too is with heirlooms, like they say, they get varieties from old people's farms, and sometimes someone's family has been planting the same thing for 100 years. So sometimes there are very unique, different heirloom varieties that different people have. And the idea with these seed people is they get some of that, and then they start, growing enough of it so there's enough seed so a lot of people can buy it and use it. And I also get this, Self-Reliance magazine, stay warm, off-grid, winter and festive foraging, brew kombucha, choose a dairy cow. I'm probably not going to do that. Restore cast iron skillet, maybe. Extreme weather rabbit care. I don't have rabbits, but there's something about bread in here too. So I like this magazine. Now, I tell you, I sent a comment in, and they told me as soon as it appeared in the digital issue, they would give me a free digital subscription, but that hasn't happened yet. But we'll see. So there's my little trip into Tractor Supply. I've still got $5 on my gift certificate, and off we go.